All right, folks. Chopped it up with the doctors Green Gorilla and Dr. T. Hassan Johnson, PhD. And we were talking about the mess that went on on Fox Soul with Cynthia G. and Umar, the main components, the main protagonists. And a lot of people think that it was a loss for the manosphere and a loss for Dr. Umar. And I really don't think so. And the reason that I don't think so is because the conscious community and the pro-blacks, or whoever we like to call them, the nationalists, have been kind of tiptoeing around dealing with the black female for the past 40, 50 years. And they have been literally kissing the ass of black females for the last 40, 50 years. I know it because I was in it. And I had my shirt tail tugged more than a few times about really being honest with black females. And so they've had this hatred of the manosphere, or the dislike of the manosphere, not because we're not right, is because how we talk to black women. And we don't want to hold black women accountable. And since black women hold lots of outsized power and influence and money, especially in the pro-black nationalist community, a lot of us in this sector are afraid to actually call out mama. That's really all it is. They're afraid to call out mama because mama's reprisals can be very severe, especially for brothers working in that sector. And Dr. Umar is one of those people. Dr. Umar is pro-black, he is conscious, he is a nationalist and a Pan-Africanist, right? And all those movements depend on black female money. So if the black females get upset with you, with their networks, their access to power, their access to money, they can do severe damage, which is one of the reasons why I've never really used my given name in this sector. Not because of me, it's because of the people that are associated with me. And for decades, I do mean decades that I've been in it, it's always been that way. And the manosphere is opposite of that. Manosphere, they always say, hates women. We don't hate women. We love black women. As a matter of fact, the thing is, we are tired and we hold them accountable. And that's what has been missing. Now, why Fox Soul brought those two nationalists in to talk to those two, I would call them intersexual feminists. I'm talking about rabid intersexual feminists. One that was trans, and then what other one was, we know who she is, right? A damaged content creator. And to talk to Dr. Umar and then slag not only black men, but also the accomplishments of the civil rights movement. I think that was a little much. And there's some heroes and some sacred saints that you cannot step on, especially if you're in what they call the pro-black B1, black first or conscious community. You can't step on our saints, because you step on them, you're gonna get bit, right? It's like stepping on somebody's brand new, $1,000 shoes, okay? Step on them shoes, especially with the fresh out of the box, it's gonna be a fight. And there might be knives and razors involved, okay? Okay, so, and I think Cynthia G, I know Cynthia G is about as rare as a rock in lava, okay? She doesn't read the room. I don't even think she cares. You can see that she has no feeling or any kind of consciousness about her. You can see that. You can see it in her face. Her face is blank. And the host who was supposed to be neutral, didn't step in, especially when you start slagging the civil rights movement and Martin Luther King. And who the trans person was, I call it T-Rex. I have no clue, but why would you bring these particular people, these particular women, quote unquote, in to actually talk to these particular guys? Because these particular guys have been defenders of black females for decades. Why would you bring them in for this kind of ambush? Because these are your allies, or at least they were, which is why I'm glad this happened. Because like the Joker says, it's just like gravity, right? Just the abyss is like gravity, right? All you need is one little push. And I think Dr. Umar got his one little push. I think that pushed him over the edge. I think he's far more likely to be on the manosphere side than the opposite, especially after this, because now he gets a taste of what we have to deal with. So, was it a personal loss for Dr. Umar? Probably not. Did it irritate him? I'm sure it did. The thing is, I think it's a big win for us. And this is the thing that they're doing, that the people that are against this kind of motion, this kind of wave, is what they're doing. The thing is, when you get a tidal wave like the manosphere, right, like the black manosphere, especially this big tidal wave, it's like any other wave, right? You got to roll with the wave. You can't fight against the wave. And what they're trying to do is fight against the wave. And all you're doing when you fight against the wave is tire yourself out, and it carries you right along with it. The wave is not going to stop. And all they're doing is opening doors for the water to come into that area. So they tried to shoot at us. They tried to ambush us. They tried to degrade us. But all you're doing is strengthening the wave. That's all they did. That's all Dr. Umar and Cynthia G did, was strengthen the wave. And these are two people that should have been allies, because Dr. Umar and Cynthia G are anti-black manosphere. They're anti-SYSBM, anti-so-called swirling. Well, at least Cynthia G was anti-swirling, but I think she's on the swirling camp now. So, but all this does is help the black manosphere, just like the Passport Bros. One little interview by Austin Hollerman, and the dating coaches in the opposite side went on the Passport Bros, like Black Panther told Captain America, mistake, and threw him on his ass. And that's what's happening to people that are going against this wave. They don't recognize the room. They don't recognize the wave. They don't recognize the power of the wave. Because if you've ever seen the ocean, right, and you've ever seen high waves, they look like they're moving in slow motion. You know, they're not cresting and making all kinds of noise. It's just little up and down waves, right? And you think everything's calm until you get in it. Get in the ocean where those waves and those troughs are pretty deep. And all of a sudden you're in the middle of that waves. I've been on cruise ships where those waves, they look rather calm. And they say that it's choppy water. And look at the waves, it doesn't look like much because slowly it's going up and down. No. And all of a sudden you see that big old ship rocking back and forth because the power of the wave, all the water that's underneath it, that's pushing all those many billions of tons of water at one time. So it looks like it's just a mild upset on the top, right? Because you see the wave, it's just something going on until they get in and they figure, oh my goodness, look at all the water that is moving at one time. And I can't fight it and get out of it because it's just too much. And that's what they're figuring out. They dive into it, think they're going to hit it. And then they get into the water and find out exactly how deep the water is and how much water there is. And that's moving them. And they want to get out. But by then it's too late. Cynthia G knows because she's been fighting against it. But the thing is, that's how she makes her living, fighting against the wave. And is she earning a living? She sure is. But guess what? The wave doesn't stop. The wave is actually getting bigger and more powerful, which is why the dating coaches kind of left the scene and stopped bothering the Passport Bros, because all you did was make it bigger and make it spread. Because the ideas that lie underneath that wave are sound. Because people look at the tips of the wave and think that's the wave, right? No. That's the crest of the wave. That's the top portion of the wave, just like an iceberg. All the motion, all the power is underneath it. And the sound ideas that the black manosphere is built on is underneath the wave. And once you get down below the surface, you realize exactly how much power, how much water is actually moving all this stuff around. And I think Cynthia G and I think Dr. Umar Johnson actually found out exactly how powerful these ideas are, what the opposition is, what we're up against, and how to move forward. So I think we gave Dr. Umar that one little push, and I have to thank Cynthia G for doing that. It's perfect, absolutely perfect. You've done it before, and guess what? By golly, you've done it again. And she's probably too dumb to realize exactly what she's done. She's done us a favor. Going after Dr. Umar was the biggest mistake she could have done, because that was your ally. Fox Soul should have recognized Dr. Umar was the biggest supporter of black women probably on the planet. He's your ally, and you tried to take his head off. He's not going to forget that. And the people behind him are not going to forget that. And the men behind him are not going to forget this. So you just rally these people to our cause. And for that, I have to be thankful, and I give my gratitude. So that I've been telling people, don't look at this as a loss. Look at it as a win. And as LL Cool J said way back when, don't call it a comeback. We've been here for years. You're just starting to see it. You're starting to see the power of it. You start to see it elevate and branch itself out into realms of power and money. Just starting to see it. And that's what scares people. That's what's worrying people. The great black giant has finally awoken. It's getting ready to move. It's already moving, but really getting ready to move. And people don't know how to handle that. And that is the secret of this wave. That is the power of the wave. It's diversity, its ideas, and its rhetoric. All sound. People don't believe it until they actually feel the might of the wave by diving into it. When they're sitting on top of a ship, they can't see it. Get down in that water and have that water take you under. And you see the might of that, all that water, all those individual drops coming together to form this wave. Anyhow, I've talked long enough. This is BGS out, and I'll see you good gentlemen on the next one. Peace.